Hello everybody and welcome to the weekly vlog where I talk about topics in relation to the channel and about video games in general. This week I'm going to be talking about one, video monetization going absolutely bonkers on my channel again. I know the source of it, which I'll discuss in a minute. Two, tips and tricks for those of you who are thinking about maybe setting up a video game channel. And three, what I have been playing this week. So first up, monetization. Again. Yes, the videos have gone absolutely bonkers with monetization again. Today is Wednesday the 27th of May, and on Monday the 25th all my videos monetization was turned off. And I had to spend several hours reactivating the monetization on all of my videos. All 700 odd. Then, as of today, the 27th, all my videos monetization have been changed back to having long, non-skippable ads, which is fucking annoying. Now, I think I know the source of what's happening here. I think I know exactly what's going on, and I don't think it's to do with YouTube at all. It's not to do with YouTube themselves. I have a feeling it's to do with my channel partner, which is Freedom, who I joined back in February after they sent me an invitation. And when you join Freedom, I can't speak for other partners because I don't know, but they do get control over your monetization, which means that they do have the ability to change your monetization. And I believe that it is them that has been changing everything for me and has been fucking around with my monetization on all my videos. And I wouldn't have an issue with this if they turned around and said, hey look, we're going to change this, what do you think? But they just do it without even fucking contacting me. They don't even let me know that this is going to be the case or anything, and they just do it. Despite the fact that I've said, even last week I said, I don't want long non-skippable ads on my channel. I said this on my vlog last week. Now, I'm going to be getting in contact with Freedom this week, and I'm literally going to say, look, here's the deal. This either gets fixed. I don't want long non-skippable ads on my channel. I just want to have ads that are skippable. If people want to skip them, by all means they can. I do not want long non-skippable ads in any shape or form, and I'm just going to say you've got a week to change this. If not, I'm cancelling our partnership, which I can do because it is in their terms and conditions that I can leave Freedom at any point. There is nothing holding me in. There is no contract whatsoever. There is no sort of time duration contract of any shape or form. I can leave Freedom at any time, and I will be leaving them if this is going to continue happening and if this isn't resolved within the next week. However, up until then, I'm unfortunately going to have to leave the videos as they are. There is no point in me changing to turning off the long non-skippable ads. The reason being is, if I turn them off, they'll just turn them back on again. Because I changed this about a week ago and they've already changed it back. So within another few days I could spend the entire day going through every single one of my videos and turning it off, and within the next few days they'll have it turned back on again. So yeah, unfortunately for the next week, maybe two max, I'm going to have to leave the long ads on there. They're no more than 20 to 30 seconds, but even that is a bit dodgy. So yeah, I'm going to get it sorted. It might take me a week or two, but I'm going to get it sorted and get these bloody long ads taken off once and for bloody all. I'm extremely annoyed about it, but I guess that's the trouble of fucking, having a YouTube partnership. They do have a certain amount of control. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna get that sorted anyhow. Until then, I apologize for long ads. Even though they are only 20 to 30 seconds long, I apologize. It is frustrating. It's frustrating for me knowing that it's happening. But unfortunately, I just need to sort it out, and it's going to take a little bit of time. And as I said, there's no point in me taking them off because they'll just turn them back on again. So we'll get it sorted as quickly as possible. I apologise for the inconvenience in the meantime. It's number 2. So again, I briefly touched on this subject last. Well, no, I went a bit into depth about it, but only one side of it. But there's a couple of you that watch, and you've contacted me, and you've been saying like you'd like to, start your own channel and things like that. So I just want to give a couple of tips from what I've learned from doing this, as to, just to help you out when it comes to starting up your gaming channel. First off is the subject that I talked about last week, which is just be yourself. Don't try to be another YouTuber. Don't try to be a carbon copy of another YouTuber. Bring your own personality, and don't just go doing things for the sake of it. Because, if you do that, you're just going to be a carbon copy of someone else. There's no point in doing exactly the same as PewDiePie. There's no point in doing exactly the same as Markiplier, Cinnamon Toast Ken, as Yummy Mash, or any of the others. There's just no point, because you're not being yourself, and you're not contributing anything new in any shape or form. You're just technically copying someone else. Whilst when people are looking to YouTube, they're looking for individuals who are different, because many people watch different YouTube channels, but even though they're the same content, but they watch because of the difference between each of them. Like, I'm sure there's people out there who watch, multiple of the top Let's Players. Like, they'll watch PewDiePie, they'll watch Markiplier, they'll watch Jacksepticeye, they'll watch all them. But that's because each of them are unique in their own regard. They have their own style, they have their own commentary style, they have their own, channel style. So if you go just doing the exact same as them, it's not going to work, because you're not bringing anything new or unique, and you're not bringing your personality in. You are just making a personality that replicates another YouTuber, and people will pick up on that in an instant. So just be yourself, be you. Don't just go doing things because other people do it. Do it because it's you. Second is, if you're going to be doing a gaming channel, depending on what kind of games you're going to be doing, you're going to need a good computer. If you're going to be playing old games, then not so much. A basic enough computer will do the job. But if you're going to be playing more modern games, you're going to need a decent rig. And to do that, if you don't already have one, you are going to be looking at about probably €1,000 just to get a decent rig set up that will run modern games at a high frame rate. So there is that problem, but that is probably going to be your most expensive part of setting up the channel. But chances are, if you're anyway a PC gamer, you're going to already have that, so it's nothing to worry about. 2 is the recording software. There's loads and loads of different recording softwares out there now. You've got the likes of Fraps, you've got Bandicam, you've got Action, you've got so many others. The 2 that I primarily use is Fraps and Bandicam. Now, the reason I use 2 of them is because some games, particularly some of the older ones, Fraps will pick it up, but Bandicam won't. There was this time in games where it went through this weird stage where it kind of was DirectX, but it wasn't DirectX, and some recording softwares find it really, really hard to pick them up. And that's why I use Fraps, because it picks those kind of games up, whilst Bandicam doesn't. But Bandicam is much more hard drive friendly. Like, a Fraps video that's half an hour long can be anything between 50 minutes, sorry, 50 gigs and 100 gigs, depending on the game. Whilst with Bandicam, you could do one of the same and it'd only come out at about 15-20 gigs. So, like, Fraps is okay if you do short sessions, where you're doing, maybe 2 or 3 20-minute long videos a day. But if you're going to be doing something like, entire days worth, you'd want to go for something more like Bandicam. But if you're going for older games, I suggest maybe Fraps, because it's that little bit better and it picks them up a lot better. Next is, of course, editing. You're going to need a decent editor. And the thing is, when I started off, and it's only been over the past 6 months that I've had a decent editor, and it does make a huge difference. And the thing is, most people go for something like Sony Vegas Pro. Now, the problem with Sony Vegas is, if you haven't really got much experience with editing, or any sort of movie editor, Vegas Pro is going to blow your bloody mind away. Because literally you open it up and you've got so many windows, you've got so many buttons, you've so many functions, tools, everything. It's like opening Blender 3D for the first time, where you're just there like, oh my god, what am I going, I don't know, and you're just stuck in, you're just like, Jesus Christ, what do I do, and you're just lost. And there's quite a steep learning curve around Vegas Pro and getting to know how to use everything and everything else. If you're starting off, I suggest maybe using something like Cyberlink Power Director. Now that's what I use, and it does the job brilliantly. It has everything that I need, and there's also a lot more features on here that I haven't yet explored, but I probably will at some point. And it's really easy to use. There's no real difficulty behind it. Most of the time, like, it's just click and drag, and that's about it. And when it comes to the editing, it's very easy to just cut bits out and edit bits and everything else. So I'd suggest maybe going for Cyberlink Power Director for your first program, but then maybe once you've got the hang of it and maybe gained a little bit more experience and learned a bit more on how to use Vegas Pro, then maybe go up to Vegas Pro and sort of learn from there. But I'd suggest, for a starter who hasn't got much experience with editing, I'd go with something like Power Director 12, or there's a new one out now, Power Director 13. They're a lot more user friendly, especially for beginners, and I just find it to be absolutely wonderful. It didn't even take me a day to learn how to use this thing. That's how good it is. Whereas Vegas Pro, I kind of just looked at it and I got scared. It scared the shit out of me, just looking at it and seeing all these tools, and I was just, oh, this is going to be painful. And just to do what I do on this, it's so much more difficult on Vegas Pro. It really is. Now, I know Vegas Pro, there's a lot more things you can do with it, which is fine. That's fine. By all means, you can go to Vegas Pro, but I just recommend something like Power Director just to get started and just to get to the hang of things. And then the only other thing I can really say is, get yourself a half decent microphone. You don't have to go forking out a heap of money for a professional microphone to begin with. Like this thing here, this only cost me about €50, and it does quite a decent job. It might not be good as one of the big professional ones, but it still does the job, and I find it to be pretty reliable. I haven't had any problems with it thus far, really. One occasion, but I don't know what caused that, but it's solved now. I mean, like, you don't need these big ass microphones that are on the stands and everything else. Not to start with. Maybe once you get better and once you gain experience, start forking out for maybe something a bit bigger. But apart from that, just something simple that doesn't cost an awful lot, and you'll be doing just fine. And then if you want to do webcam, just get a basic enough one. This one was supposed to be 8 megapixel, but it actually turned out to be VGA, false advertising and all that shit. It actually turned out to be a VGA camera, which was disappointing. But I'm going to get myself a better one in due time. But yeah, this one only cost me a couple of about €10, I think, something like that. So you know it does the job. It does perfect. So you know you can get one for cheap enough if you want to do that. Like not everybody wants to do that. It's not. Some people say it's a necessity, but not necessarily. I mean, there's plenty of channels out there that do this and they don't necessarily use the webcam and they do perfectly fine. I mean, Cryotic is a perfect example of that. Um, yeah, I mean, you don't have to go all out. You don't have to go all out whatsoever when it comes to it. You can, you know, you could easily get really really well set up for just over 1,000, depending if you need to buy a computer or not. So you know, if you have a computer, you're practically sorted. You just need to buy a couple of cheap bits and you're flying it. The only other thing that might cost a bit is the editor, but apart from that, you're pretty much flying it. And you know, those are just a few basic tips and tricks, just you know, that I've learned along the time. And the very last thing I can say is edit, edit. It's something that I couldn't really do properly before because all I was using was Windows Movie Maker and it was absolute shite. Um, you need to use something more detailed like Power Director or Sony Vegas Pro to edit properly. And you know, because there's going to be bits when you're playing games and doing let's plays of them where you're going to die a good few times, or you're going to get stuck, or there's going to be backtracking and things like that. And generally, it's best to edit them out unless it is technically progression in the game. If it's not progression, I generally prefer to take it out. Um, that's why something like that's why I'm sort of slow when it comes to my let's play of Blood, because I die a lot and it requires a lot of editing just to get it right. So um, yeah, just do edit out anything that is not necessary, and if you're backtracking or if you get stuck, just edit out anything that is not interesting or wouldn't be seen as any way, like, you know, if it's anyway boring, just call it out. Um, and you know, you should be fine. But yeah, there's just a few tips and tricks for those of you who have been talking about maybe setting up your own video game channel. And then finally, what I have been playing over the past week. Well, as you'll know, once this goes up, you'll see that I've started on The Witcher, which it's not quite what I was expecting, strangely enough. Um, the combat is weird. The combat is very weird. The controls for the combat is strange. I've never seen an RPG take that kind of method of controls. Um, I just need to get used to them more than anything. I'm starting to get used to them, but I'm not quite there. It's pretty dialogue heavy, I'm going to say that now. Um, so there's not going to be quite as much of me talking as there usually would be in Let's Plays, because it is very dialogue heavy. And of course it's got voice actors and everything, so it doesn't need me reading it out in most cases. So yeah, I mean, it's got a bit of a learning curve to it, The Witcher. There's a lot of things going on. There's lots of windows. You've got your inventory, your character sheet, you've got your logbook, you've got your alchemy screen, you've got your skills, you've got everything. There's just so much to it. You know, you can really see that it was designed for the PC more than anything else. Um, but so far, interesting game. I'm enjoying it. I just need to, you know, get used to it and just sort of learn my way around it. But once I got the hang of it, I should be pretty good to go. Like a friend of mine, he's played the first two, and he really really enjoyed them. So you know, he speaks of them quite highly. So you know, he's generally quite good with judgment when it comes to games. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting more into it and seeing, you know, where it goes and the story and that. Um, it's definitely got off to a good start anyhow. But yeah, so far intrigued. Not really far enough to state that it's whether or not it's a good game or my personal opinions on it. But in due time, I'll probably talk about what I think of it and things like that. But right now, I'm just learning how to play it, and you know, so far I'm enjoying it. Um, what else have I been playing? Yes, I started Doom 2, or sorry, Doom 2, Doom 3. As well as the next horror, you'll find them the first two episodes of that along with these videos as well. Um, what I've decided to do with Doom, and I decided this at the end of the second part, is that there is a lot of audio logs in Doom 3, audio logs and video logs. And what I do is, instead of wasting time, because when you're running around and shooting things, it's very, very hard to hear the audio logs. So what I do is, unless I need an audio log for something in particular, like a code or something like that for one of the lockers, I'll generally leave it to the end of the episode, and then I'll sort of, I say my usual, thank you very much for watching, and so on and so forth, and then I'll play any audio logs or any video discs that I've found in that particular part. Just for those of you that do want to sort of hear them and see what's going on, was I don't want to make, I don't want to drag out the actual main recording and make it boring by just standing there listening to audio logs. So I'm going to leave them all to the end. But Doom 3, still one of my favourite first person shooters and still one of my favourite horror games. But yes, I have started it. I'll be doing more this week and really looking forward to getting into it. And I am playing it on Nightmare, which is a nightmare to say the least. You can't actually have any more than 25 health at any one time, otherwise anything over that will slowly decrease by 5 every couple of seconds. But you also have the soul cube from the beginning, which makes things a bit easier, because otherwise without it it'd be practically impossible. But the reason I wanted to do it in Nightmare is because it's interesting in Nightmare. It's more of a challenge. I find that even in Veteran, which is hard, it's not really that much of a challenge. Whilst with Nightmare, it is quite a tough challenge, and there's nothing more I enjoy about a game than it being a challenge. And that's why I put all my Let's Plays into hard, into the hardest difficulty, because it's just a challenge for me. With the exception of Outlast, because, well, that was permadeath. I've also been playing in my spare time a bit of Painkiller again. I have Painkiller Black Edition I got on GOG.com, which includes Painkiller and Battle into Hell, is it? It's the expansion, I think that's what it's called. Which is probably one of the most fun first-person shooters in the past decade. It was released around the mid 2000s, I think. I think around Doom 3 time, anyway. And it was made by People Can Fly, who have become quite well known for Painkiller, and they also were the developers of Bulletstorm, which is another one of my favourite RPG or first-person shooters. Sorry. And it's your old school, really fast-paced action, some kind of like Serious Sam, but takes a bit more of a serious approach to it. While Serious Sam is more about jokes and just humour and things like that mixed in with the action. This takes a bit more of a serious role, but it is so much fun. It's super fast. I mean, really fast. It's faster than Serious Sam. It's faster than the Unreal Tournaments. It's super fast, so you need to be really bloody quick. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. Basically, the story takes place where you play as Daniel Garner, and he died and he's gone to purgatory. And the whole story goes where he has to battle the demons of hell as they're trying to invade purgatory and things like that, and you have to go through each level and different realms. And the best part about the game is that nearly every level is different. It's a different setting, it's a different atmosphere, and it's just absolutely brilliant. It's a really good game, and the weapons in it are like no other. They've always got primary fire and alt fire, and it's just a really fun game to play. And I highly recommend it for anyone that likes first person shooters, especially old school first person shooters. It's probably best to describe it as the speed like Doom. It's a really fast paced speed game. So, it's definitely worth checking out if you like first person shooters. I'll probably do a let's play of it eventually, but at the moment I'm a bit busy with the others, but I'll probably get around to doing a let's play of it at some point for the action slot. So yeah, definitely check it out in the meantime. It's on GOG.com and a hell of a lot of fun. And yeah, so that's about it for this week's vlog. I'll also be adding in the bonus vlog, which I was promising to do last week. I promised it, even though it was supposed to be last week, but I said I'll definitely have it, and I have it. I have it done and everything. I have it ready. Don't worry. And it's where I talk about the differences between Penumbra and Amnesia, and where their strengths and weaknesses are of each game, and just overall which game is actually the better one. So if you're interested to hear that, that'll come up alongside this with the uploads as well. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and have fun.